The opening scene shows Jake, who is a meth addict, in his desperate search for a lighter. He thrashes his house while cursing out loud, but has no luck finding one. With no other choice, he walks out to the street, facing the bright sunlight, and goes inside the nearest convenience store. But the store is empty just like the streets outside. There is no sign of a single person or animal when the city was bustling with life just a few days ago. Although the atmosphere feels weird, Jake tries to concern himself with it and goes to a park in order to smoke his meth. His relaxed attitude doesn't last long as he suddenly discovers a corpse of a homeless person underneath the park bench. He shoots up from his seat and hastily dials 911, but the call does not connect. Again, he spots another dead body on the street, and he is overtaken by fear. He sprints to his parents' house to check if they are okay, but all that greets him are the corpses of his parents and little sister. While he is trying to digest the shock, the TV blares with the announcement of a worldwide crisis and warns the people not to fall asleep. Jake runs out of the house to scream on the street and lets out his frustration. That's when he meets Sam, a boy with ADHD who has somehow managed to survive the pandemic. The time skips to the 5th day of the disaster, and the two of them have met up with 2 other surviving women. They are having a fun time at the pool of a random house after stabbing themselves with adrenaline injections that will keep them awake. The 4 of them are heavily doused with drugs, and one girl even starts to hallucinate before finally giving in to slumber. The rest of them try to wake her by frantically giving her an adrenaline shot, but it is already too late. Her death leaves the other woman very anxious, but the 2 men have no words of comfort for her when they themselves are suffering from this hopeless situation. While the 2 of them are covering the dead body, the other woman runs away in a car. The car that she stole is not important, but she has also stolen the backpack that has all their drugs. The 2 men scramble to get inside another car and chase after the woman at full speed. They need to get the drugs back as soon as possible because Jake is already starting to doze off in his driver's seat. Seeing that he is unable to drive, Sam takes over the wheel and clumsily drives the car, all the while trying to keep Jake awake. Just as they are about to reach the woman's car, all of a sudden, they crash against a small plane that comes down out of nowhere. But the crash proves to be beneficial as the pilot kindly shares some drugs with the 2 of them and asks to drive their car in exchange. The 3 of them drive to the nearest hospital because the pilot, Ellis, seems to have some information with him that could possibly help save their lives. Ellis splits up with them after arriving at their destination and heads towards the ICU while Sam and Jake look for the pharmacy. To their pleasant surprise, the hospital is filled with medical personnel who have survived because of their night shift. Among the doctors is Allie, and she gives Sam and Jake some medicine while having small talk. She reveals that the doctors haven't left the building because they had believed that they would be able to find a solution if they put their heads together, but up until now, they haven't been able to figure anything out. Sam, Jake, Allie, and Ellis, the 4 of them gather inside the office and discuss what they should do next. Ellis puts forward all the evidence he has gathered while flying his plane to different cities and concludes that the origin of this pandemic has to be somewhere near Dallas. Everyone is skeptical of his plan at first, but this is the only lead that they have, so the 4 of them pack their bags and prepare for the long journey. We skip back in time to show the beginning of the sleep apocalypse in the hospital. The building was still bustling on the first day, but as days passed, people started to lose their lives one after another. Seeing this, Allie's girlfriend left the hospital to independently search for the cure without listening to Allie's worried protests. Moving forward to the present, the 4 people, along with another female doctor, have started driving to their destination. They have to make continuous stops at every hospital they come across to search for records and gather drugs. But the first hospital they reach is already burnt to ashes in a fire. so they head to a small medical center instead in hopes of finding any useful records. Surprisingly, the medical center has been overtaken by a rave party. The people gathered there are taking drugs and dancing without a care to spend their last moments. Jake and the female doctor are tempted by their carefreeness and temporarily split from their group to join the party. In another room, Sam, Allie, and Ellis are working hard to retrieve the medical records that contain the time of death of the patients. There are no physical records, but Sam manages to crack the password to the medical website and retrieves all the information that they need. Allie and Ellis put together their knowledge of their respective fields to analyze the information and manage to pinpoint the place of origin of the pandemic. Outside, the rave is still in full blast, and Jake's mind is slowly beginning to get clouded by the drugs. He starts having vivid hallucinations about his little sister and runs from room to room in an attempt to follow her. He has conversations with her about their family that leave him more agitated the more he talks. By the time he snaps out of his hallucinations, he finds the female doctor dead on the beer table. Allie is furious with him because he was supposed to look after her, but Jake insists that it is not his fault. Ellis agrees with Allie and wants to leave him behind because, according to him, Jake cannot be trusted. But Sam is on Jake's side. They have been together since the beginning of the pandemic, and he won't let them get separated now. He weaves some lies about Jake saving his life before and managing to convince Allie and Ellis to take him along with them. While they are on the road, the radio in the car picks up a signal and starts playing a message. It is a voice urging them to go to Austin. Since they were originally heading to Dallas, Ellis doesn't want to switch their destination. However, Allie believes that she must go to Austin to find a cure, so the group decides to split up again. Sam and Jake follow Allie because they feel responsible for letting her fellow doctor die and want to make it up to her. Before Allie's group departs, Ellis gives them a way to communicate with each other. The third episode starts with a man depicting his life throughout the days of the sleep apocalypse. On the first day, he remains fairly well, but the madness starts to settle in from the second day onwards. His strategy to stay awake goes from devouring coffee to self-harm. The self-harm soon escalates from punching the mirror to stapling his arm until the fourth day, where we see him walking down the street with his arm bloody, with multiple nails hammered in. He looks like a zombie and even feels like one because he has lost almost all of his rationality from the lack of sleep. He sees a blurry figure of a person in the distance and does not hesitate to dash forward to attack. He beats the person again and again until she is finally dead and then runs along to somewhere else. The scene moves back to the fifth day, where Allie and her team are driving to Austin. They are playing a game of guessing the movie to keep themselves awake when suddenly a body falls from the bridge overhead and crashes against their car. The car is wrecked, and adding to their trouble, Allie is now injured because of the accident. Sam and Jake support her while the trio slowly make their way along the road to search for another car. While walking, Sam reveals something that is making him a little worried. He says that he saw someone else on that bridge who might have pushed off the dead body, but his suspicion is not taken too seriously as they have more important matters to attend to. In some other place, Ellis is having a hard time staying awake while driving. Since he is alone, there is no one to wake him up, and the silence almost lulls him to sleep before he jolts awake. He parks the car to play a recording. It is the last conversation that he had with his coworkers at the beginning of the pandemic. He can hear their confused screams and cries as their loved ones are found dead one after another. The recording provides him with enough emotional stimulation to keep going, so he gets back inside the car and starts driving again. Switching the focus back to Allie's group, the trio have finally made their way into a small town and decide to take a little rest in an old park. Allie needs some ice for her concussion, so Sam volunteers to go look for some. although Jake is the one who ends up going because it is not safe for a kid to wander alone in a time like this. While Jake runs towards the center of the town, he comes across some strange people who are dressed as ghosts and creepily moving under the shade of the trees. But these people are the ones to help Allie, whose condition is starting to get worse. They quickly take her to the local church and give her some sort of tonic that jerks her back to being clear-headed with its strong taste. This tonic is the thing that keeps the people of the church awake, since they don't like to use any drugs or adrenaline shots. The group agrees that Allie should rest up for a few moments before resuming the journey. Taking this chance, Sam heads outside to the garden where many children his age are gathered together to prepare for a celebration that honors the dead. He quickly befriends a little girl who drags him around to give him a tour of the place. After they get back from meeting possibly the only dog alive, they are suddenly attacked by a crazy man who looks almost like a zombie. He violently stabs the girl, but Sam is too weak to fend off the attacker by himself. Thankfully, they are saved by the priest and other people who arrive in time and chase after that crazy man. The girl is quickly taken inside the church for treatment. She is bleeding profusely and is in dire need of a surgeon, but the only doctor present is Allie, who is concussed on top of being a radiologist. Even so, she cannot give up on the little girl and has to at least try and save her. She quickly takes charge and instructs the priest to bring all the medical supplies they have, and she begins her attempt to stitch up the girl's wound. The process is very painful as the girl cannot be put on anesthesia because of the sleep apocalypse, so Sam tries to distract her with a guess the movie game. Everything is going steadily when all of a sudden, the lights go out. The priest acts quickly and goes to fix up the generator, but someone is lurking in the dark. It is the madman who had stabbed the little girl, and this time too, he remains violent and jumps to attack the priest. The sound of a gunshot resonates throughout the building, which makes Allie grow alert. She takes the girl and Sam and retreats to the chapel that is lit up by candles. It seems like the gunshot was not enough to kill the madman, as he has found his way to the chapel and is slowly approaching Allie and the kids. They are helpless in the face of a lunatic who has lost all reason, but thankfully, Jake arrives just in time to save them. He sneaks up behind the man and strikes his head with a metal pipe repeatedly until he ends up dead. The disastrous situation ends, and the group finally takes a breath of relief. After treating the little girl, Sam, Jake, and Allie immediately depart from the town and head to Austin. The priest prepares a car for them to take and also gives them a few bottles of the tonic as a thanks for saving the little girl. After the trio get inside the car, Allie reveals another gift from the priest. It is a gun which she hands over to Jake because she believes that she can now trust him since he had saved their lives. And so, Allie steps on the accelerator and the trio speed towards Austin. Over to Ellis's side, he has reached Dallas and just needs to form another plan on what to do next. And that's a wrap for the series recap. Thanks for watching.